Everyone called him a monster, a 180-pound beast destined for a dark end. But when Daniel saw his bowed head at 3 a.m., he made a choice that changed everything. He wasn't dangerous, he was broken.
The night was swallowing the deserted city streets as Daniel drove home, the silence only broken by the hum of his engine. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the air, a sound so raw it made the streetlights seem to flicker in distress. He pulled over to find a scene that looked like a nightmare. Standing there was a massive 180-pound Bullmastiff, a mountain of muscle and fur named Danger. A woman stood before him, her face twisted in a mask of pure rage and fear, screaming into her phone while blocking the dog's path. She didn't see a living soul. She saw a weapon, a liability, a monster. "I'm getting rid of this beast," she shrieked at Daniel, her voice trembling with a terrifying coldness. The dog's owner had died months ago, and while the neighborhood fed him, no one wanted him. He was a ghost haunting his own home, a titan with no kingdom. Danger didn't growl, he didn't snap. Instead, he did something that pierced Daniel's heart like a jagged blade. He lowered his massive head to the pavement, his eyes heavy with the weight of 1,000 rejections. He looked like he understood he was a burden. He looked like he had already accepted his fate at the hands of the authorities. The distant wail of sirens began to echo through the concrete canyons, red and blue lights reflecting off the damp walls. The woman had called for his removal, and Daniel knew that for a dog like Danger, removal was a one-way trip to a cold steel cage, or worse. If you're watching this and haven't subscribed yet, I have to say I'm a little heartbroken. Stories like this need your support. Hit that subscribe button right now. You won't regret it. Now, back to what happened next. Daniel couldn't let it end this way. In a burst of pure adrenaline, he lunged forward, wrapping his arms around the 180-pound giant. He didn't care about the weight or the dangerous label. He hauled the massive dog into his car just as the sirens grew deafening. The woman's screams of, "Give him back, they're coming for him," faded into the distance as Daniel sped away. That night, he brought the giant home. His wife met them at the door, her eyes wide as saucers as she stared at the enormous guest. "I didn't know we had a new son," she joked, her laughter acting as the first warm welcome Danger had felt in an eternity. The first few nights were filled with a heavy, uncertain silence. Danger moved through the house like a shadow, his massive paws patting softly on the hardwood floors, as if he was trying to make himself invisible despite his gargantuan size. He was a 180-pound ghost, still waiting for the moment someone would yell or push him away. Then came the night that nearly stopped everyone's heart. Daniel's wife woke up to a strange, rhythmic scratching and a heavy thud coming from the kitchen. The house was pitch black, the kind of darkness that plays tricks on your mind. She gripped a wooden bat, her knuckles white, her breath hitching in her throat as she crept down the stairs. Her mind raced with horror stories of intruders, but the sound was different. It was wet, sloppy, and persistent. She rounded the corner, her heart hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird, and flipped the light switch. The scene was far from a break-in. There stood Danger, the monster, with a tipped-over tub of yogurt on the floor. He had managed to nudge the fridge open with his massive snout, and now he was caught red-handed, frantically licking the white cream off the tiles. His tail, thick as a baseball bat, gave one hesitant, low wag. He looked up, his face covered in yogurt, eyes wide with the fear of a child caught doing something wrong. The tension in the room didn't just break, it evaporated. Daniel's wife let out a sob that turned into a laugh, dropping the bat and rushing toward him. "Oh, you big oaf," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "I never realized how hungry you must have been." She wrapped her arms around his thick neck, burying her face in his fur. Danger froze for a second, then let out a deep, shuddering sigh, leaning his entire weight into her. It was the moment the walls finally came down. But as the weeks turned into months, a new problem emerged. No one was coming to adopt him. Every volunteer agency looked at his size and his name and said no. The house was in total chaos. The furniture was being crushed, the floors were constantly slick with drool, and the peaceful nights were gone. Daniel and his wife found themselves at a crossroads. Could they really keep a 180-pound powerhouse in their small, organized life? The decision wasn't made with words, but with a trip to the furniture store. Daniel realized that if Danger was going to be part of the family had to adapt to him. He didn't look for a kennel, he looked for the reinforced heavy-duty sofas. He bought the most expensive plush sectionals he could find, not for himself, but so Danger would have a throne worthy of his spirit. When the new couches arrived, Danger didn't hesitate. He hopped up, circled 3 times, and collapsed with a thud that shook the windows. Within minutes, the house was filled with a sound like a freight train, Danger's legendary snoring. His massive jowls flapped with every breath, sending sprays of drool onto the brand new fabric. But Daniel and his wife just watched him and smiled. He wasn't a burden anymore, he was the heartbeat of the home. Daniel once suggested changing his name to something softer, maybe Buddy or Cloud, but his wife wouldn't hear of it. She leaned over the snoring giant, kissing his scarred forehead. "No," she said with a wink, "the name Danger is the only thing about him that's actually tough. If a burglar ever broke in, this big guy would probably just lick them to death or try to share his yogurt." Today, Danger is still the king of the living room. He has claimed the couches as his sovereign territory, and his snores act as a nightly lullaby for the couple who saved him. He still licks their feet at 6 a.m. when his stomach growls, a wet and sloppy reminder that he is loved, and most importantly, he is home. He was once a dog with no future, a beast waiting for a siren to take him away. But now, he is just a kooky, snoring 180-pound lapdog who finally found where he belongs. His story is a reminder that sometimes the things we fear the most are just the ones that need the most love. If this story touched your heart and you're still not subscribed, please don't wait any longer. Hit that subscribe button. What would you name this incredible gentle giant? Drop your ideas in the comments. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. It helps more people find these incredible stories.